gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Toby. He is the front person for Trash Boat. Welcome, Toby.
Front person. I love
Front
that.
person.
That's the first time I've ever heard it be front person and not front
Okay.
man. Sign of the times, isn't it?
It is. It is. I didn't want to assume, you see. So
Please, you know what? I actually, like, you can assume with me.
okay.
That's all good. It's not like a personal prerequisite that like an assumption wouldn't irritate me. I understand a lot of people feel exactly the opposite way, but please assume.
All right, cool. Well, frontman from Trash Boat. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Um, it's the pleasure's all mine. I've been following you guys for a while. I only recently discovered your band through during lockdown, in fact, and it was when you released "Don't You Feel Amazing," the video.
Heck
And
yeah.
I was watching a guy called Terry Beezer. Don't know if you're aware of him. He used to be quite the journalist here in the UK for all the big rock magazines. He now lives over in the US.
Name is ringing a bell, but I'm terrible with names and people.
He goes under Bees is his like name, but anyway, he like covers a lot of stuff, and he does this like Saturday night stream, or was doing. I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but he like introducing new music to his audience, and people were voting on it, whether they like it, whether they don't, and all the sort of scale of that. And then your video came on, and I was like, "What the hell is it? What's this?" You know, and everyone reacted well to it, so that was a good sign, which is always good. And yeah, I just instantly just sort of fell in love with that track. It's so like the video as well. It's just so like it's just so filthy. I think the word is
right. It's so like just kind of new wave industrial.
Yeah,
it's kind of like what Nine Inch Nails probably would have sounded like if they started in like 2018.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I thought there was an energy when we wrote that in the studio, because we wrote that song like that was the last song that we did,
okay.
and we wrote a lot in the studio because we went in with like 12 sort of half finished songs, because it wasn't done in a rush, but we couldn't find a studio that would take us for more than a couple of weeks, because this was during lockdown. We were trying to get as much done possible like via Zoom, which is just stress. And when we finally managed to get the time in the studio, we only had a couple of weeks, and most of the songs were kind of half finished, and then like 5 of them just got binned while we were in the studio, because so much happened in those 2 weeks to change like the sound of the record and the way that we were going with it. Like as soon as we all got together and we started writing, everything changed. It went from 0 to 100 real quick. And after scrapping like 5 tunes and writing 4 in the studio, we had this moment with like 3 days left, and we were like, we should put another song on. Like, what should we do? So we started just going through old demos that Oakley had written, and literally all he had was just that like dun 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 dun, and that went on for like 30 seconds, and then it did the down now 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 now. That was it. So it was like a 45-second clip, and we kind of stumbled across that, and we were like, okay, that's like a bit of a way. And then we fleshed that out over the course of a full day. I just sat in a dark room and wrote some lyrics completely like off the top. I was like, they don't need to make sense. Like, I just need to vibe it. And then I spent like a few hours doing that, and then I went back into the room, and Oakley had just tracked the drums, and they'd laid down a couple of guitar tones, and he just cranked the PA in the thing and just played that massive like boom 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 boom, and I was like, oh shit, this is fucking huge. And like I laid down those vocals, and I remember I've told this story a couple of times. I went out after doing the vocals to like make a cup of tea. I came back in, and Jason, our producer, was just bouncing. He was like jumping up around the things, but like, boys, it's fucking so good. And we got the boys in, and we all listened to it, and we were properly rocking out. It was such a good feeling.
That's awesome. I mean, it's a fucking killer track. Like I said, it's the first track I heard of you guys. I know you guys formed in 2014, 2015 or so, around about then. I did a little bit of research on you, so it's all right. We'll go into that in a bit, but no, it just totally caught me. And I've been hosting, like, I host radio shows and I DJ nightclubs and all that kind of stuff, and it's one of those tracks I thought instantly, like club wise, I was like, this is perfect. Like you said, it slots like it's like 9 Inch Nails if they were kind of, you know, making stuff if they just form now kind of thing. But it fits with that if you're doing that kind of set. And I predominantly do like rock clubs, industrial, EBM, whatever, you know, alternative nights, and it's perfect for that. And I've been playing it at the club since, and it's getting people dancing, and people, you know, as you guys are gaining momentum, people are finding out who you are. But it just like through that, like you said, when you had it in the studio, cranking it through it, but cranking it through a club system, fucking hell, it sounds great as well.
It's so big. It's so big. Like we were having arguments when we were making like the guitar sounds and the bass sounds, because like we were finding it hard to, through like Kemper profiles and whatnot, to replicate just that massiveness that we got in the studio. And we pulled back that snare, even though it's still like huge. When it first when it was like the first snare in the studio, it was just like this huge like with this like sustain that just went on for like the whole next bar. And I was like, oh, it's got to stay like that. And I preferred the snare the old way because it was so arrogantly massive.
Yeah.
But it ended up getting toned back a little bit. Yeah, we were struggling to replicate that size with the Kemper profiles and like the live sound, because it's like it has to sound huge.
Yeah.
Because that bass is so thick.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And I want to catch you guys live. We'll talk about that in a moment, because you've got quite big tours coming up in a bit, and you've just come off tour, in fact, as well. But yeah, no, talk about the album. It's called Don't You Feel Amazing as well. So you named it after that song. Or was the album title already there and you just called that song that?
You know what? The album title came really, really late in the process, and it had like 5 different names before it was Don't You Feel Amazing, and they were all really try hard, cryptic, like, please think I'm very, very intelligent. Please dig through all of the layers of why this name is so intricate and so well thought out. And honestly, like with the way that this album was shaping out, with the way that I was writing the lyrics, having that lack of accessibility didn't really sit right with me. I just wanted something as blunt as the rest of the album to kind of I didn't want people to have to dig through layers of metaphors to find out what the fuck I was talking about. Because that's like my usual spiel. Like on Crown Shyness, everything had to be like, you know, shrouded in mystery and clever metaphors and all this bullshit. Not that it's bullshit. Like I love all our previous stuff, and like that's like how it will default when I write. But I just wanted to be a lot more blunt with this record.
Yeah, it's the artist in you. Like there's sometimes when you're creating something, you want to be cryptic. You want to have that, you know, that air of mystery with it, so people can figure out stuff. Give people something to think about. Or
not much mystery in this album.
Yeah, you think that, and obviously, you know, sometimes you just want to be blunt with it. You know, you just want to say this.
That was a very last minute night, okay. And it was unanimously accepted, because sort of coming out of lockdown ish, we wanted to, I don't know, the album just felt so self-effacing and so powerful and so sexy. It just felt like a you know, a really proud sound, and just it felt like a statement, but I wanted it to be like an objectively good one.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a question that's like, don't you feel amazing? And it's like, yeah, we all feel fucking amazing, because we feel like we're looking through the windscreen mirror at this COVID nonsense, and we're approaching, you know, the norm and just the good times again. So that's kind of where it came from.
And I've actually got the album. I paid for it.
Oh my god.
I usually get stuff for free, you see, but I didn't get sent your stuff, so I just went out and bought it. I found it in HMV, so it's being stocked local to me anyway. So just to, you know, reaffirm your distribution on that front. But yeah, no, I mean, there's some great tracks on there as well. We talk about it as well. I love Bad Entertainment. We have Milky Way from Wargasm on there. Another fantastic band, in fact. Wargasm.
I mean, they're primed to blow. Those guys are going to be something special.
Yeah, I've been following them for a good while, and I'm just waiting for it to happen. It's going to happen because they've got the opportunities, especially next year.
They got the opportunities, they got the sound, they got the talent, they got the team, they got the whole package.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, bring it back to you guys because we can talk about orgasm if we want. But no, I love this album. It takes you in so many different directions. Like when it starts out, you've got that kind of, like you said, the slow industrial. You start with "Don't You Feel Amazing," and it just goes from there. But it goes on to many different, I guess, different genre, different styles. Obviously, that reflects in your sort of like background of the sort of like punk and post-hardcore and things like that. That kind of new metal-esque sounds. And even, I mean, there's even like a sort of two-step drum and bass track type thing in there as well.
Right by the end.
Right at the end. And I love my drum and bass, so you can see my t-shirt there, drum, bass, and metal.
I like. I'll make a point about drum and bass in a second, but carry on.
Okay, no worries. But yeah, no, I just like there's so many good tracks on there. Obviously, Synthetic Sympathy, which was the DMB one, which
it was Maladaptive. It's the DMB one.
Oh, is it? Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, Synthetic was the re-record because that was like a bridging single. We just wanted to release some music, so we and then we remixed Synthetic and put it on the album. But yeah, Maladaptive is the more drum and bassy one.
Really liked He's So Good as well. I thought that track was an absolute banger. Like, it is.
That's been the standout track of the album. No complaints. I had when I first heard "Don't You Feel Amazing," I had delusions of grandeur. I really thought that song was going to go like, you know, Queen, "We Will Rock You," "Take Over the World" vibes. And then He's So Good ended up outshining it a little bit because of the message, which I understand.
Yeah.
Like I thought "Don't You Feel Amazing" was going to be the one, but He's So Good is the star of this album for sure.
Cool. And was it Alpha Omega as well? You had on there as well,
right?
I really like that one.
We had arguments about it for us.
Yeah. I mean, the whole album, I've had it on kind of rotation in my car because I've actually got the physical CD, so I can play it in my car. I've got a CD player in my car. I'm old school. I got turntables behind me as well, but I didn't buy the vinyl. So, but yeah, no, it's like this. I mean, it's kind of taken you guys. I mean, because I wasn't in the country when you guys formed, so this is probably why I didn't hear from you or hear about you until now. I've lived over in the States for, I was like 5 or 6 years. So and sort of coming back and discovering bands that I missed is like what I'm finding out at the moment. And like I said, I did a little bit of research. You guys you're from St Albans, which is
everyone except me. I live in St Albans now, but I didn't come in there.
Oh, okay. Whereabouts were you from originally?
I spent the first half of my life in a place called Bovingdon, and then Chesham, but it's always been like home counties, like Buckinghamshire, Hertfordshire border. So always like within a 30-40 minute drive of St Albans.
Yeah.
But just like obscure home counties, towns.
No, that's all good. I mean, I've always associated St Albans with a few bands because it's always been quite especially Hertfordshire, I should say, has been a fertile ground for a lot of predominantly rock and metal acts. Obviously, you've got, I mean, you'll Enter Shikari is the sort of like standout one from there, and you guys are actually going out on tour with them next year, but we'll talk about that
we are indeed
in a bit as well. That's very exciting.
That's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be it's gonna be messy. And you know, back when I was in a band, we played with a lot of bands from that area, like Sixth, Aconite Thrill, Eden Main, I'm just trying to think of any others that may have come from
Your Demise, Flatline, Shell Shock.
Were they? Yes.
Shell Shock from St Albans. They were definitely from like around.
Yeah, they're definitely from around that area. Can't remember them. That was proper electronic metal. That was industrial type stuff for them. And yeah, I played various venues around that area as well back in the day, so I know that area quite well. And yeah, just coming from that sort of like that were you aware of the sort of like area you were coming from? Was there any of those bands like kind of played much into, you know, how you became Trash Boat?
Yeah, I mean, it all feeds into how it became Trash Boat. But I mean, like the first ever show that I went to was like when I was like 14 in Amersham, and it was at a venue called Ultimate Solution. And I actually spoke to Rao about this when we played the Heavy Music Awards. I was like, dude, when I was like 14 years old, I saw you guys play in like a 200 cap youth club. And it was with, I believe, Shell Shock and a band called You Have Me at Hello.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really like the catalyst of me loving music, because at that time I was like a very sporty, sport was my focus. I liked music, but I was very like competition and sport driven. And then as that kind of phased out and music was phasing in because of injuries and whatnot, I started to go to more and more shows. And then it was like I went to see 4 Years Strong on the Give It a Name tour with like Mayday Parade. When Bring Me the Horizon were coming up as well. I went to like a bunch of their shows, Day to Remember, all of these bands. And then all the while alongside that, like I was going to these big shows to get the taste for it. And then whenever I wanted to fill a weekend, there was always something going on at like the Watford Railway Club, at the Flag, at the Horn. There were always these bands that were like either up and comers or big in the hardcore scene that were pulling just like mad heads to all of these like tiny venues and having all these crazy shows that were just kicking off. And I didn't realize at the time that everyone else's scene wasn't quite like this, because they didn't have the Ordemizers, they didn't have the Enter Shikaris.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was, at the time, very privileged to have as many gas bands as we did, because like St Albans is, you might as well just play London. Like, why would you come and play St Albans? But there were so many acts that were pulling people to the local venues, and like the Pioneers, well, they filmed the Burnt Tongues videos at the Pioneer. And yeah, it was just cool to have that kind of like that size of a magnet, bringing people relatively locally, like, because Watford and St Albans were pretty local for me. And Black Hole, oh my god. Frank Carter's younger brother Richard had like a kind of groove hardcore band called Black Hole. It was sick.
Nice.
It was so good. Yeah, lots of stuff going on locally when I was a teenager.
Nice. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I played with a lot of those bands back in the day. We played actually with Shikari supported my band in London. Their first London show. It was like upstairs at the garage. They were on tour with First Signs of Frost. And
what was your band?
We were called Zero Cipher.
See, that's such a cool name. Cipher.
Yeah. We were like on the we were new metal. I'm not going to shave anything off of that. I was the DJ in the band, so you had like some big guy scratching at the back, and that was
we're 1 or 2 steps away from new metal at this point.
Yeah, it's coming back. It's going to come back. My genes are telling me they're coming back. So nice and baggy. Wallet chain on the way, and all that. So
I got absolutely had the other day, because I went down a bit of a rabbit hole, and I just listened to a bunch of Mudvayne. Because fucking just back in the day, I absolutely stand Mudvayne. I thought they were sick. And there was this video that was just like Mudvayne performs at the 2021 Oscars, and I was like, I missed this. What the fuck? And I watched like a full 2 minutes of that video before realizing that it was fake. And I was like, no fucking way, is Mudvayne playing the 2021 Oscars? And whoever made that video had me to a T, like half of the fucking video. And then I realized, I was like, of course they're not playing the fucking 2021 Oscars. So
brilliant. Yeah, they're another band that's come back. They did a live stream the other day. I think previewing some new stuff and talking to their fan, or doing something. But yeah, they're another band. Like from back then, I used to street team for them back when I was younger. I did a campaign for them and 1 Minute Silence, and they're like putting out cassette tapes to people in queues and whatnot, venues
like Spine Shank.
Yeah.
All those like older new metal there. Oh man, Spine Shank was serious.
They were good. So good. I can't, like Limp Bizkit just released a new album as well, so I'm like,
which is, dude, the fucking riff in the opening track of that album is so hard, like untouchably hard.
Yeah,
like I remember someone put that track on and I was sold. I was like, oh my god, that riff is so fire.
Yeah, they drew it in. They knew which track to put first. They could have, they leaked obviously, or put out Dad Vibes, which was, it was all right. It was like, okay, just, you know, rapping over a drum machine kind of thing. It was kind of fun, and they did the whole like, you know, dressing up as older people. And then like I heard that album like when they dropped it on Halloween, and you're right, that first it just drew me straight in. And then there's a I think it's track, it might be track 2 or 3, where the riff is kind of almost it's reminiscent of something off Chocolate Starfish, just the way it bounces. But it's obviously it's you know it's Where's Ballin', so it's going to bounce. But yeah, no, I mean, I love that era. I grew up in that era. That was my sort of like scene. And you know, thankfully most of the bands, like the big bands, are going at Korn, Deftones, Incubus, all that kind of stuff, despite, you know, some of them changing direction occasionally. But you have to do that. Can't blame them. You have to do that. But yeah, no, it's just that area of the world where you're from, I know it very well. I mean, I'm based down in Surrey, so I'm just the other side of London. So but yeah, I used to play up there, the rugby club in Watford, the somewhere in Hitchin, can't remember the name of it.
Club something.
Yeah. And yeah, just that area, we played like so many bands. Like Shell Shock was when I played one of their shows in Amersham. We played, you know, with like Electric Eel Shock, which is a band from Japan, and they were fucking crazy, you know. But the crowds always went off up there. That's what I loved about that sort of area. There was no kind of like, I didn't feel there was any kind of like pretentiousness in the crowds. Not, you know, you get the sort of some crowds where they just stand there, you know, arms crossed and watch you. But the kids there just really got into it, and it's very, very fond of that area of the world.
Me too.
That and Southampton seem to be very nice to us as well. Don't know why, but I just have fond memories of those areas. But back to your band, on that front. Let's talk about the tour you've got, let's talk about the tour that's just been, because you guys have had, since releasing the album and that single, you've had quite a rise, like in sort of shows that you've had, and events that have happened to you guys as well. Obviously the Heavy Music Awards, which was well documented. You got the stream shut down. Yeah, exactly. Roll your eyes.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Like I'm calm for the clout. Like that's cool.
Yeah. No, I was like, that's fucking great. You know, it's like,
like zero complaints. Like write all the articles you want. But at the same time, I'm sat here just like, wow, this is a thing, dude.
Yeah, no,
like,
exactly. And I like, in the music business, generally most publicity, there's no such thing as bad publicity as such. I mean, there is now. There's a lot now, believe a lot of people are getting caught up in it. But when it comes to stuff like that, like, you know, getting kicked off, that is probably at that time of where we were, it's a very rock and roll thing. I felt, you know, to put it into that, you know, just like, that shit happened. It shouldn't have happened. Don't get me wrong, it shouldn't have happened, because it shouldn't on that front. But yeah, it was just, I mean, for those that don't know, just to let them know, they had the stream cut off for the Heavy Music Awards, because Milky Way was wearing a very revealing top.
As was I.
As was you. Yeah, actually, that is the point. That's why, and because Twitch has stringent rules on female nudity, not male nudity, female nudity of the nipples, they cut the stream off. So, you know, people can read into that and think of ridiculous that is, which it is very. But like everything that has kind of like gone on from there, and just sort of, I've been watching you guys kind of get that momentum, and then, you know, you're off on tour, you're playing, you know, busy venues, and did you sell out the ballroom as well? Was that sold out in the end?
Didn't quite sell it out, no, but it was a full room.
It was full. I saw the videos of it, and it looked very full. And I mean,
with the ticket sales on that tour, it was really odd, and we thought that, like, we were a little bit bummed out at first, but then when we spoke to the promoters, they were like, this is happening with like every tour across the board. Is that like you'd sell, say, 500 tickets for one venue, but only like 400 would show up. Like they wouldn't cancel their tickets or anything, but just I guess they didn't want to brave the COVID things. There would be like roughly 20% at each show who would have purchased tickets but just like didn't come, which is like super weird.
It is, and I've noticed that as well with the things that like with the club nights I do and stuff. Like we are selling tickets like online pre-sales, and you know there is a portion of those people that aren't turning up because they don't feel safe or they can't, or they've been, you know, we give them the opportunity to cancel if they want to, so we're not like tying their hands. But yeah, it's a weird phenomenon, because there was a point where people were just sort of chomping at the bit to get out and go to these things, and then I think it just like lockdown just went on that little bit too long, and then the fear kind of crept in with a lot of people,
Yep.
including myself. You know, I didn't like going out initially. You know, the day job I have is very public facing, so it's, you know, it was very kind of, you know, daunting.
Well, throughout the entire tour, like usually I'm jumping in the crowd, I'm going to merch at the end of every show because I want to meet people. But I didn't do like any of that this tour. I kept it real PG, just because I guess to practice what you preach. Like if I'm throwing myself in the crowd and like rubbing faces with people and whatnot, and then going and shaking people's hands and giving them hugs at merch, it doesn't scream pandemic safety, which is tough because I like, you know, like you said, it was the biggest tour we've ever done, and it's nice to go out and meet and chat to people and thank them for coming and hear their stories and that. So like, that was a sacrifice not doing that, but at the same time, it was entirely necessary. So
yeah, no, totally. I was going to ask you how that differs like from before, because obviously you guys have been out before, you've been around for a while, you've had 2 albums out before this, and you toured with, you know, some notable acts as well as doing your own thing, and yeah, just sort of getting that reaction, because I spoke to a lot of musicians during lockdown and sort of getting their, you know, opinion across the world, how they were going through it, how gigs were, or if, you know, album releases and all that kind of stuff. But you guys kind of hit just as we were coming out of that bubble, if you will, and just watching the sort of, like I say, the momentum you'd be getting, and it's paying off. You're sort of now like going forward, you've got like a tour with Enter Shikari coming up, European tour as well. That's kind of exciting on that front. So it's you, Shikari and Wargasm on that tour, isn't it?
Stacked.
So it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be messy. It's going to be so
we've got 2 others in like the end of the first quarter and beginning of the second quarter as well, which are both also very, very cool tours. So
yeah, what do you, is it the Shikari tour, or is it you touring?
It's the Shikari tour, and then 2 others after that, which we're currently sorting out. One of them's confirmed, but we haven't announced yet, which we can't because the band is currently on tour. They'll obviously announce it when they come back. And then the other one we're sorting out, which is like our own thing, which will be again in like at the end of Q1, I think. But yeah, very cool stuff on the way.
Nice. I forgot to mention you played with Skindred as well on their last tour.
We did. Those guys are fun, man.
They are. I've known Skindred since they became Skindred.
They asked to do Jacoby Shaddix's bit in Warning as well, which was so fun.
Brilliant.
So fun.
that is amazing. I love that. Yeah. I love that. They're another band. Like you're like the current there's a like a generation of bands that we've got at the moment that are really, I feel that they're really supportive of the new guys coming through. I mean, you guys have been around for a while, but I'm sort of classing you as newcomers. I'm sorry.
We're going to win Best British Newcomer, the Kerrang Awards. That we're still due to win Best British Newcomer.
Okay. Well, it's good. Don't never be labelled next big thing. From my own like experience, it never works out. But no, just like obviously Shikari, Skindred, and just bands like that, like are bringing UK bands, like new UK bands, with them on tour. Like they're taking Wargasm to the States as well, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Shikari are. And it's just like your band is part of this crop that I'm absolutely loving coming through at the moment. Because obviously you got yourselves, and we've already mentioned Wargasm. There's bands like Seething Akira, who I'm really digging at the moment, or have been for a while, in fact. And you know, there's still classic bands out there, Raging Speedhorn, and they're sort of still kicking about, like doing shows and things like that. But yeah, no, just there's just seems to be this like movement of bands that, especially from like UK generally, I mean, there's a few sort of worldwide that I'm watching as well, but just I'm really excited to watch this, like, you know, and see this crop of just quality music coming out. You know, to brush your ego a little bit more, I really like the album. So,
what can I say?
But yeah, no, I mean, obviously, like I say, you've got all these plans for next year. One, obviously, you guys have already like had announced and stuff like that, and you got other stuff. What is your sort of like, you know, I guess major aim? What is your, because obviously you're on your, like I say, third album. Yeah. What is
I mean, look, I am in a perpetual state when it comes to music of being entirely grateful for every iota of anything that we've achieved so far. If the men came in their suits with their briefcases and they said, it's over, it's done, you're finished, I could look back on the experience with nothing but fond memories and be like, all right, we achieved more than most, and what a journey, what a ride. But at the same time, I'm never gonna not want to be playing to six figures of people and toppling the fucking oppressive regime in Russia in like the 90s, like the way Metallica did in front of 100,000 people in Moscow. You know what I mean? Like I want to have that impact. I want to experience those experiences, and I'm never going to stop chasing my delusions of grandeur when it comes to music. But at the same time, remaining entirely humble in the moment and realizing that it's only going to be what it's going to be. And you know, I appreciate it.
No, that's really cool. I just like, because you know, having been in this sort of like band situation, there is obviously what you would love to happen. Like you say, going to play out, what to do this. But looking back on it, you're like grateful for every, like, just people coming, people watching, people, you know, at least enjoying the entertainment that you're providing, you know, the art that you're providing for them.
I'd love to be the biggest band in the world. That'd be great. It'd be so awesome. We just got to write better songs, apparently. You know what I mean?
Man, I don't know. Some of these tracks off this album, I'd put up there with some big track, like, you know, because some of them are catchy as fuck. So
yeah, I really appreciate that. And, you know, I agree with a couple of those tunes. It's just, you know, no one has the formula to get the whole world to agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things that, like, occasionally you'll just put out the right song with the right sound and the right lyrics and the right message at the right time, and the whole world will just be like, I'm going to share this because this is speaking to a part of me. And yeah, I thought that Don't You Feel Amazing with the sexy video and like hedonistic message after like a lot of kind of hyper conscientious rhetoric in the world and everyone like masking up and being very like enclosed. It's such an open and expressive and bold song. Like I was like, yeah, I mean, this could catch. I saw people making like TikTok noises out of it where like they do transitions with that big, like, I don't care what you think. And loads of people did, to be fair, but just not enough to make us, you know, play stadiums.
Yet.
You need that one song. You literally just need that one tune to catch. Everyone to be like, oh my God, it's such a fucking banger.
You never know. It might be a slow burner. It might be a slow burner. You don't know. You know, you just keep pushing.
The Americans love Silence is Golden.
Yeah.
Like, Silence is Golden got I can't wait to play that live in the US because that got like infinite spins on Octane. Shout out Octane.
Yeah.
And that was like, yeah, we were constantly receiving things saying like, oh, they're spinning Silence is Golden again. And it's like, fucking hell, yeah, they love that. So I mean, I'm very excited to play that tune in the US when we touch it again.
Do it. Yeah, no, definitely. Like I lived over there, and so if you can get onto rotation, because it's predominantly dominated by classic tracks like rock radio. It's, you know, the classic rock songs, but occasionally
the naughty Kerrang bangers.
Yeah, but you like occasionally get like when I was out there, Bring Me had Happy Song, and that made it on rotation. Bullet had I can't remember what track it was, but they got it on rotation, like on the local sort of like Clear Channel, big, you know, conglomerate rock radio, if you will. but yeah, I mean, Sirius XM, stuff like that, Octane, and all those sort of ones that yeah, it plays well over there. That's good. I love that.
Yeah, it's big.
Cool. So I mean, I've got a couple of questions left for you, if that's all right, and I'll let you go.
Please.
Been at work and whatnot, and I don't know, you don't want to do this anymore.
I honestly, like, I don't like stopping. You
Okay.
know, like, I mean, I've got a full-time job, I've got little side hustles, I've got the band, and I like idle time being the devil's plaything truly is a mantra for me, because, or mantra, however you say it, because I like always feel guilty whenever I'm not doing something. Do you know what I mean? Like that's when my brain starts to kind of differ, even if it's something that's like not terribly pragmatic, or, you know, putting cash in my pocket or helping people. If I just find myself with truly free time, I will immediately fill it, because I just end up feeling guilty, like I'm not making the most out of life. So keep me on here as you want, mate.
Right, cool.
I've got nothing to do.
I'll do that. I'll keep you occupied. Don't worry. But yeah, I mean that's yeah, I'm kind of the same. I do like well, occasionally I do like a little bit of downtime, but when I'm there too long, I'm like, I should be doing something. I get restless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm having a day like full-time job, and this is kind of my side thing with I work for TotalRock. I'm a technical expert for Apple.
Oh, no way. I do something very, very similar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a customer success analyst for just a different piece of software for something called Gearfish.
Okay, cool, nice.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I work on a Genius bar, and I have to fix people's stuff. So, you know, if you ever get a problem with your Mac or your iPhone, then
I'll send it your way. If you ever have a problem with your recruiting automation software, give me a shout.
Yeah, I will. No, because I remember like during lockdown, because I followed you guys on TikTok as well, and like just yeah, I know, but I have to be on there for TotalRock on their social media like manager.
TikTok. I'm a voyeur on TikTok. Like, I had an account, I was posting stuff, but I'm bad with social media. You know, like I whenever I find myself doing things, I find it really, really hard to change the pace of what I'm doing to film it and upload it. So like, I'll often just like do stuff and go, wow, that was cool, and it would have been really cool if I'd have shared it and posted it, but I never do. And it's something that obviously all the press team and people at my label are just like, you know, obviously trying to get me to do more of. Yes. But I'm just so bad with recording things and taking pictures and whatnot. I just like, I do it, I forget that I should have posted it.
Yeah, I got 2 young kids, and they've helped me learn the TikTok side of things, so they've been very good. I haven't done any dance videos or anything yet, so didn't quite get to that level, but I learned, like, they sort of guided me through initially using it, and then, you know, I gradually built up the TotalRock profile and whatnot. And but no, it's like I said, I found it, like, I'm watching, like I say, when I'm flipping through, and you guys had one, and it was like one where I think you put, how could I write a song like Don't You Feel Amazing and still have to work this like time job, because you're
James, work for Sainsbury's.
Yes, yeah, doing that, and I was just like, that is so, like, it's so right, because that track is amazing. And
I mean, it goes. Oh, sorry, Karen.
No, I was just gonna say it just really struck, because I was like, I remember being like, say, going back to like when I was in a band, I had to hold down like 3 jobs at the same time to kind of maintain what we were trying to do, for one, because obviously, you know, initially money goes out the window, and, you know, just having that 3 sort of like jobs, and then having the passion project, which was music, and feeling that way, because, you know, when you write a song, you're like, oh, this song's fucking amazing, and it was getting traction at the time. We're like, back when like the Metal Hammer CDs and stuff were a thing for like distribution wise. You know, it's not so much of a thing now, but you know, and you're just like, why hasn't this song catapulted us to the next level?
Yeah, and there's no answer to that question.
No, there's
no satisfying answer to that question. It either happens or it doesn't. I mean, I know bands that are selling, you know, 3 to 5 times the amounts of tickets that we are, and they're still not even paying themselves a salary that equates to minimum wage. Like, it's insane. Yeah. Like, they're still paying themselves, like, you know, like $1,000 a month each, which is it's not nothing. It's nothing to be scoffed at. But at the same time, it's like if you're treating a band like a full-time job, you need to be paying yourself more than minimum wage, really.
Yes.
It's why I'm always jealous with these bands that have like 2 members. It's like, went for the 5-piece. Fuck's sake.
One day you'll automate them all. It's fine.
The whole thing. Get session musicians out here.
Man, they cost more. But yeah,
and also that's one of the things that I fucking love about Trash Boat is that we're all original members and have been since we started, and we are like the most dysfunctional family ever. Like we all fucking love each other in the most abusive sibling kind of way, and there's no hierarchy within the band. Like everyone is equally a piece of shit.
That's
and it keeps us grounded. It keeps us grounded. It's great.
That is good. You definitely need that. Like I've been in hierarchy situations and they're not fun. They really take the sort of fun out of it. But if you're all if you know you're all on the same level and you're all pieces of shit, then it really does keep it like it keeps it, like real, I suppose is the word, without trying to sound young.
100%.
Not on that front. But yeah, no, last couple of questions. I'll let you go after this, honestly. If you could name, like, these are my generic questions, so I sound very well practiced in these, so don't worry about it. If you could name 3 albums that are most pivotal to you, so I'm not talking about your top 3 albums ever, because a lot of people have that normally, not saying yours are, but it's usually Appetite, Nevermind, Enter Sandman, or Black Album, whatever on that front. But what I want to know, because like you said, with Enter Shikari, and kind of like you saw that show and that kind of maybe gave you the bug to want to be musical, could you pinpoint that to like albums? So the album that made you want to be a front man for a band, or what made you want to be part of the music industry, or anything in a certain part of your life, an album that dragged you out of something?
Yeah. The Things We Carry by Have Heart, still will always be in the rotation in like my top 3 or top 5 albums of all time. Best hardcore band that ever lived, no question. No one could sit in front of me and debate that. Nice. It is absolutely they are absolutely the best hardcore band that ever existed, and has existed so far. The lyrics are just he's a different beast. It was just promoting a kind of strength of mind and body ethos in such a clear, intelligent, conscientious and concise way that just shook me to my very core. And then if you watch the videos of their last ever show that they played, like it was, I can't remember when it was, a long time ago, but I've never ever seen anything like it. And it's just when I'd started going to shows properly. I remember I was at like Ghost Fest in like 2009 or something. And stayed in this like person's student hall's accommodation. We squeezed like 5 people into their room, and we were just watching stuff on a laptop screen, and someone showed me Have Heart for the first time, and I saw the video of their last show where it's like kids get on stage, and then kids get on top of the kids on stage, and then kids get on top of those kids, and the band just get buried in this crowd participation insanity. And I was immediately hooked. So and also Songs to Scream at the Sun is another one of their albums which is equally as good, but The Things We Carry I heard first. So yeah, an incredibly special band. Origins of Symmetry by Muse.
Cool.
Simply because my oldest brother basically got me into music. Like he would pick me up from school or from wherever, and he had like this old Golf Mark 1 GTI. It was burgundy, and he would always have like these different cassette tapes. That I'd be like fucking like 6 years old, and he'd be driving with his knees at like 60 miles an hour in a 30 zone, like rolling a cig and just cranking all this ridiculous music. He'd have like Pantera, Metallica, System of a Down, Prodigy, loads of old like drum and bass dub plates, which is leading into what I was going to say earlier. And the one that hooked me the most at the start was Origins of Symmetry and Absolution by Muse, and they just got the spin. Like I constantly was listening to that fucking album all the time. And yeah, just the musicality, Matt Bellamy's voice, just everything about it. That riff on Citizen Erased, like, oh my God. The falsetto that he was able to do, it really grabbed me. And and when I got to see them live for the first time, I was like, oh my God. It was like Wembley Stadium or the O2 or something crazy, I can't remember. And a third, there's so many, but I'm trying to think of the one that had like the biggest impact. You know what? Actually, like, I was gonna not say this one in lieu of something maybe a bit better, but thinking about it, it did change my fucking life in a massive way. And I'll Count Your Blessings, Bring Me the Horizon. Like, I liked heavy music because obviously, like, my brother had initiated me with Pantera and Metallica and all these bands.
Yeah.
And when I hit sort of like 14, 15, I was doing my own research and finding all these new bands. And I got Count Your Blessings on CD for like my birthday or something. And I thought Trivium was heavy. You know what I mean? I was like, everyone was passing around Ascendancy when it came out, so that we could like burn it. Like this one guy called Danny bought Ascendancy and he brought it into school and he was like lending it to people every day so we could all burn it and have our own copy of it. I was like, yeah, fucking Trivium is so heavy. And then somehow, I can't remember if my parents bought it for me or if a friend bought it for me or what, but I got Count Your Blessings and boom, death metal was a thing. Those vocals were a thing. Those riffs were a thing. I was like, oh, things can be a lot heavier. This is now officially my shit. And from there it was Whitechapel, Carnifex, Job for a Cowboy, Suffocate. Just the death metal phase officially began with Bring Me. And then I went to see them, and they were playing. Where are they playing? I mean, I saw them at Roundhouse, but I also saw them like a couple of times before that. When like Day to Remember was supporting them. Crazy is that? I mean, Day to Remember will probably also support them now, but there was definitely a period where Day to Remember kind of were the biggest thing ever. But yeah, that album changed my perspective on what could be a heavy band, even though the lyrics were just awful. Like just horrible. But all death metal lyrics are fucking horrible.
They are.
So that album has no skips and was just a game changer for me music wise.
That's amazing. No, I mean, I haven't heard, I don't think I've heard Have Heart. I should have, because I was very much into my hardcore. I'll have to go through my CDs and maybe dig that out, or even if they're on the streaming, I'll do that. Have a look.
Yeah, they're on the streaming for sure.
Muse, fantastic band. I think I've talked about them before on this show, and like I've been able to follow them since early days, and I've got a demo of theirs somewhere amongst my belongings, pre like Muscle Museum and stuff like that, and they are a fantastic, like, live, absolutely immense for the
ridiculous.
Like, just, I mean, obviously the live show they had, I mean, I've watched them play in relatively small venues, like, you know, Astoria size venues and stuff like that, just like 1,000, 2,000 capacity. I've seen them play festivals like Reading Festival and stuff like that, and just fucking blow everyone away, like every time. Yeah, Bring Me the Horizon as well, fantastic. That's a good album as well. Leading on to the death metal, I had Ben from Whitechapel on this show not long ago, and that was kind of cool because Whitechapel are one of those bands.
You know what? I say this to everyone. You know, Lamb of God, I was going to pick a Lamb of God album because Lamb of God are like arguably the best death metal band to ever exist and one of my favorite bands, but there was no one Lamb of God album that was as significant as Count Your Blessings was to me. Like, the Lamb of God are just the most consistent band alive. They're on like album 9 or album 8 now or something like that. Even like their worst album, which in my opinion was Resolution, is still one of the best death metal albums like ever. Do you know what I mean? Like, Resolution, you know, if you had to rank the Lamb of God albums, then yeah, Resolution would probably be the worst. But it's still fucking incredible. It's still so good. And when after Mitch from Suicide Silence died, they did that like memorial show in Pomona. Or it's a tour, maybe, I forget. They got Randy to come out and do You Only Live Twice or You Only Live Once, I can't remember the name of the song. And I think Randy Blythe has like the best vocals in death metal, but Phil Bozeman from Whitechapel did Unanswered, and I encourage you viciously to go and watch that video of him doing Unanswered, because I have never ever seen a performance of metal vocals like that. And there's a bit like right at the end where he goes low, and then he does like a second round of like lows, and then he does these highs and goes into these like guttural lows, which I've never heard a human being make those noises. Actually fucking unreal. And I've watched that video like hundreds of times. I can't get enough of it. I could watch it right now and enjoy it. Nice. It's so fucking good. And it's
I'll say I was gonna go dig that out and go watch that. You spoke
his
so
vocals
about it, so.
Dumb. And they always have been. Like when at the first Whitechapel album, because they just released the Somatic Defilement when I was sort of discovering new music. And obviously the song, the Somatic Defilement, just has that like 15-second long, just like over silence, and then the riff kicks in. I was like, right, these guys are my new favorite band.
Yeah,
absolutely love it. Let's go. So good.
Yeah, and I mean they've gone again. They go from strength to strength. There, I mean their new album's really good as well. To give that a shout, because that's a solid, like it's yeah, I'm enjoying that album at the moment as well. So,
Okay.
But yeah, to take back to you were going to talk about drum and bass. You're going to say something about drum and bass.
Yeah, so
totally let's go back to that.
My oldest brother, who is now 43, 44, something like that. Obviously, he was a teenager in the 90s and was just, you know, knee deep in the drum and bass scene, and amassed this collection of vinyl, like drum and bass vinyl, which he bequeathed to me. And I've got like a full crate and bag full of like old Metalheads vinyls, like Ed Rush and Optical, all these like really old iconic drum and bass vinyl that I've just got sitting in a box. Nice. And just going through them, some of the names and some of the dubs that are on there, like Scream. I'm losing all of the names at the moment, but I've been through that thing like so many times. Left Field, Africa Bambaataa, like so much fucking absolute madness just in this one box. It's like it's drum and bass history in a box, and I'm sure you'd love picking through it.
I probably would. I grew up in that era too. I'm almost your brother's age, so we'll probably get on very well, to be fair. But yeah, that era, I mean, I've got boxes of vinyl next to me, and I've got stuff from that era like Sub Focus, Ed Rush, like you say, Optical, Fabio and Groove Rider, Goldie, so the Metalhead series, Dillinger, and what's it, Adam F, or Andy C. And it's just like, and I mean drum and bass is huge for me. I don't know if someone has a damn t-shirt, but like back then, I mean, I've been quite fortunate in some of my like earlier jobs. I work in like nightclubs and things like that, and some of the nights they've put on in those things like big drum and bass nights. So I've got to meet like Fabio and Groove Rider, which is amazing, and you know, and sort of I've been to like back in the day, Metalheads used to run a club night in London at the Leisure Lounge. And I was like, when I was like 18, I went to one of those, you know, just about 18, I should say. I went up to a couple of those, and just like, it's some of the best nights I've ever had is like a drum and bass club, you know. And that era of drum and bass particular is my era of electronic music, and I'm jealous you've got all that vinyl as well, because I love my vinyl. So it's
yeah, I mean, dude, well, we'll like I'll find a way to share it, you know. Like we'll link up at some point and like maybe do a FaceTime, and I'll walk you through the box, see if there's anything that see if there's anything that's like iconic enough for me to pull it out, and I don't know, we'll figure some way to make it.
I mean that's fucking awesome. I fucking love that. But yeah, no, that's great. I mean, like I just got bequeathed a bunch of hip hop vinyl as well, just from a friend. Like they didn't have a turntable, and they're like, I've got all this vinyl, do you want it? And I'm like, yeah. And it's just filled up an entire box of like, I've got those really useful boxes, like they're called really useful boxes, but they've got one specifically like kind of made for vinyl, and they've just filled all of them up. That and being a scratch DJ, obviously hip hop's big in that sort of side of things. And I've got a lot of rock as well, obviously classic rock vinyl and new stuff as well. So
I had a small vinyl phase where I amassed loads of vinyl, and then I stopped, and now I just have all this vinyl.
No, you can get like that. But I mean, I'm of that school of like, I used to have to drag this to gigs and stuff. So
yeah,
just having all that. And thankfully now when I'm DJing, I only really have to take a couple of USB sticks, so my back is very happy. So
like that box that they were in was like a really cheap one that I got just for like a few quid at a corner shop.
Yeah.
And when I was carrying it to my car when I moved out of my last place, the box broke, and I was like holding it together, just like it's so heavy, and I could feel it splitting like this cheap plastic, and I was just kind of like hobbling to my car, and then I ended up just kind of bumping it in my car, and they all just flew all over the back seat.
Yeah.
But like at least they're inside.
Brilliant. All right, man. Last question. What are your hobbies away from Trash Boat? Now, obviously music is, the passion on that front. But what are your sort of like, if you had to kind of remove yourself, or this is like kind of just for me, is there any hobbies you sort of get involved in or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I really quite dreadfully miss sport in general, but I can't do it anymore. So I'm always looking for like activity and competition. So I go to the gym like 4 or 5 days a week. I just love exercising. I've got that bug, whatever it is. Like I have to exert myself because I'm so used to. I used to play sports like every day when I was a teenager, and a lot of them were contact sports. So I miss that. So I try and get in as much exercise as possible, and then that competition. Like I don't really play video games to relax. Like I literally play video games to compete, which is why I do like Dark Souls PvP. That's like the only game that I play really.
Okay.
But it's like the hardest possible game, really, and that's not why I play it. I fell in love with it years ago, but like the PvP community for Dark Souls it's just a different breed. Like it's pretty niche, but like it's so toxic in the best way. Like because the more toxic it is, the more of an achievement it is when you win, and the odds are so heavily stacked against you, and like everything is just built to piss you off, and people will exploit those. There's glitches, there's all kinds of stuff, and people will exploit them to no end to make an already unfair advantage even more unfair. And when you win, like I'm sweating bullets, my hands are like fucking super tense, and I have gotten more gassed at Dark Souls than I have got at anything ever. Like when you pull off that dub and you just pick apart like a 4-man team on your own, like I've caught myself like jumping out of my chair and like beating my chest, be like, ah! Nice. I used to stream it. I haven't streamed in like a couple months because of like hardware and like internet and noise issues in my new place.
Yeah.
Because I haven't yet got my own place, but yeah, just like anything competitive. I did a lot of voiceovers and voice acting. Again, before I moved into this place, I haven't done that in the last couple of months either. I do need to get back on that train because I really do enjoy like doing goofy like cartoon voiceovers and voice acting and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of stuff ever since I moved into this new place, I'm in lieu of buying my own place. So this is kind of like a temporary spot. While I'm here, it's like the internet's not the best. And the guy who I live with like goes to bed at like 8 p.m. and I don't want to be like finishing work and then getting like really gassed streaming while he's trying to sleep. So I haven't yet found the sweet spot to keep my streaming and stuff going. But yeah, those are generally things like exercise, a little bit of competitive gaming, and I want to get back into my voiceovers because it is a lot of fun.
No, that's really cool. That's some like, I mean, sport. I used to do a lot of sport as a kid as well, and kind of I do have that kind of competitive edge when it comes to video games. I try and play non-competitive, like, but if I'm doing well at like, Call of Duty, FIFA, whatever I'm playing, I'm gonna have to give Dark Souls a go now. So
so there's a new game coming out which is effectively like there's Dark Souls 3, which is the latest one, but that's like 5 years old now. And there's a game coming out in January which is effectively Dark Souls 4. Like they were like, oh, we're not going to make another Dark Souls game because, you know, we want to move away from the franchise. And this game that's coming out, it's Dark Souls 4. It's called Elden Ring, but it's Dark Souls 4. That's literally what it is. Like it even uses some of the same engine as Dark Souls 3. Like, or you could have even called it Dark Souls 3.5. And there's straight up like that's going to be a biblical moment for me when that game comes out. That game is going to get the Muay Thai 1-2 smash, and I'm gonna get as good at that PvP as I am at Dark Souls PvP, and hopefully continue to make content when it's out.
Nice, excellent. No, I look forward to that. I'll keep an eye on your streaming channel as well, so see how that goes. But yeah, no, I'm going to try that game out now because I'm looking for something new to play, and that sounds like something that I might, you know, I'll give it a go. Let's put it that way.
You gotta want it. You gotta want it. It's going to make you hate yourself, and it's going to make you hate video games, and it's going to make you wonder why the fuck you're even meant to enjoy this. But if you really get there,
you're really selling it.
Yeah, there is a heavy dropout rate on that game, and people are like, so it's just shit. I just don't get it. It's not very fun. But then the people that make it through, you become part of like this special secret club where you're like, I get it.
Okay.
I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to power through, like it's a sick game.
I'll at least check it out, and then I'll see where I get from there. I might. You never know. You never know.
You want tips, my guy? I will make you good at that game. Trust.
Okay,
It's
cool.
literally the only video game I play.
All right, cool, excellent. And you talked about voiceovers and stuff. Have you done anything like that I, may have said, or anything like, on that front, or is it just sort of?
Yeah, nothing really of note. Like I do a lot of just kind of like corporate cash in hand money makers and like ads, stuff like that. And I've done like a couple of little cool projects just here and there. I haven't invested the time to make a really good demo reel because I feel like I perform best like on the spot with those kinds of things. But I need like an agent, and in order to get an agent, you need a demo reel, and in order to get a demo reel, you need to either pay money or make it yourself or like get some other jobs. And I haven't, in the last like 4 to 6 months, I haven't been that proactive with it. I started to get a little bit of traction, but honestly, I just want someone like who I'm linked with in some way to just be like, hey, we've got this like cartoon, and why don't you just come down and just have a go, and we'll see how it goes. Because that's where I feel like I'd really shine. It's like the kind of, oh, make a demo reel and get an agent to send it through here. That's where I have no contacts. I just have nothing. I'm just like, I'm starting fresh like everyone else, which is fair, but I haven't yet put the effort in to really make it and to really get the types of opportunities that I need, which I should do. But lately, like with the tours and with all the other stuff that I haven't found myself with enough time. But I will get back to it for sure, because I'd love to be on like the next BoJack Horseman, the next Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like I have a lot to offer. And if Trash Boat ever crashed and burned, that's probably what I'd put all of my focus into. Mark Hamill style.
Yes, yeah, he does a lot. And like a lot, I wouldn't thought it was him, but it is him.
My guy was Skips. My guy was Firelord Ozai. Yeah. My guy was the Joker. He's out here just crushing the voices.
Skeletor as well now, isn't he? And yeah, no, I mean, he's done so much, like away from. It's obviously trying to get away from Star Wars to a certain degree. Like he couldn't probably do that as an actor. But as a voice actor, he has just fucking killed it, especially as the Joker. Fucking, it's the most sinister Joker out of all. And it's, but yeah, no, just multi-talent. Like even, you can sometimes hear his voice out of it, but sometimes you don't even know it's him, which is great. It's kind of what you want at the same time.
And he's the news announcer in Metalocalypse.
Is he?
Yeah. Like, when he's like talking to the panel with like General Crozier and like all that stuff, and it's like Death Clark are doing this new thing with it, blah blah blah. That's fucking Mark Hamill.
Oh fucking hell, that's brilliant.
Dumb.
I love that.
He's everywhere.
I love that. No, because voice acting was something I looked into at one point, and like did a few little bits. I put a thing up on, I think it was Fiverr, and got a few little bits off of there. Like $5 for like 20 seconds of me talking. But being based in the States and having a British accent played very well. on that side of things. But no, I was just curious if you'd like, because I never pushed it either. I never went down that road, and like it was, you know, putting a demo reel together or getting an agent or, you know, finding a publisher to help you out. And even my musical contacts, like they do music publishing, but not commercial, like, you know.
Yeah, it would be nice to have a foot in the door somewhere, because if I just got like one decent opportunity that was worth chasing, it would just light a fire under my arse. But I lack that fire at the moment, and I lack the discipline to make that fire just with everything else that's going.
No, you've got a lot of momentum with the band at the moment, so it's just kind of, you know, it's good to keep in the back pocket, I suppose, on that front. But you know, when you get a bit of downtime with the band side of things, it's something you can, you know, then sort of jack into, I suppose, and see if that.
It's definitely something that I will be pursuing to one degree or another for a long time.
Nice. Excellent. Well, good luck with that. Well, Toby, I'm going to let you go because I've had you far too long. I think I don't normally go this long. Well, so I don't normally go this long, but that just sounds really weird. It's all good. But no, Toby, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the tour and everything coming up. With Shikari and whatnot, and all the other opportunities you got next year. I'm hoping to come see you guys live at one of those shows, if not something later in the year at least. I'm trying to get to next year's my kind of like, let's get back to live shows, because I had a bunch booked this year and they've all been cancelled till next year. So you know, we'll see how that kind of
pans out.
Yeah, pans out. But, no, Toby, thank you very much, and yeah, have a good rest of your evening, man. Thank you.
No worries, man. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on anytime.
Awesome. We'll talk about vinyl at some point.
Oh,